Josh here with Oldschool and Offgrid. This is the weekly off-grid update. How I've been living old school and off-grid. There's the old camper set up. It's a beautiful day. Got the solar over there. And over here we got the construction site for the tiny home. On the left you got the Tribrid Suburban. Runs on 3 fuels, propane, gasoline, and solar. And the little trailer for all this equipment and supplies. So I've got an inverter on the truck that's large enough to power a circular saw to make my cuts and everything on this thing right here. So got one inverter stacked on top of the other right there. Speaking of that, I should unplug the one. So I use the smaller inverter to charge my laptop. Uses less power, and let's see here, the larger one powers that saw right there. So it won't power the welder, but you know, used to be in the camper, and I'm transitioning everything over here to the tiny home. So I wanted to explain today kind of where I'm at in life with regard to my endeavors, my past successes and failures, and where I'm going with old school and off grid and what my intent is. So let's see here. So on September 7th I was rear-ended in this truck. I was on my way to the hardware store picking up supplies for this thing, the tiny home I was building for one of my customers, and let me think here, it messed me up pretty good. My seat was broken, and you know, it's laid back, and I was laid out for a while, pretty good. Well, until recently. So I built this truck. It's the world's first 5-field truck, and I drive it every year 5,000 miles for these 5 men across the United States in their honor. And the idea is to never forget. And each fuel represents a man in terms of freedoms and choices we have as Americans. So there's the bumper I built and everything that got rear-ended. Took a pretty good lick. So, and coincidentally, the tiny home did not get finished. So right now we have an open air tiny home, not by design but by default. And because I was rear-ended in this truck on that day picking up supplies for this thing, I couldn't finish it, so I had to take a time out basically in life, and recover and relax. And so now here we are in the spring. It's finally warm enough here in North Georgia to begin constructing, making good solar power, and it's just generally warm enough. So I wanted to show you guys what this tiny home's about. I now coincidentally own it, and issued a refund to my clients. And let me see here, although it's a little bit of a hardship to absorb this project because it wasn't in my plans to have it, I do have it now. So we're gonna finish it. I'm gonna finish it, and today just finished putting in that American flag, of course, but this window and some siding, and then this window we put in the other day. So I've got to put in these windows, and I never was able to buy the window that goes up there, so right now it's just covered. And right here we've got the newest edition, which is a brand new American flag, my favorite, on sale at Harbor Freight. Isn't that great? American flag on sale. So that's gonna be the platform for discussion today here, and we're completely off grid, living it up. So, you know, hopefully I get sponsors one day. Milwaukee Tools, if you're out there. Look at that. We got on the left the old one that basically built this and a lot of my income for my life and what I do, and then the new one my dad got me for Christmas, which is going to build a lot more. So it's like a passing off, if you will, of the tools. And so I'm gonna get the video camera all set up and get it rolling. That's the camera stand I bought from Goodwill for $5. Works pretty good. Alright, so Josh here with Oldschool and Offgrid. The weekly updates about basically some of my thoughts and things that I have on the top of my mind that have accumulated over the week. Of course, I don't remember them all. I don't have a notebook, and I just want to talk to people and discuss things that are important and I feel need to be discussed. Also, I guess on the last Fallen 5 Drive trip, I did something called video therapy, where I began to just basically record myself and my thoughts, or basically to get feedback on myself, and that seemed to work for me, and so that's sort of where this started, I guess. My background, I've got a pretty diverse background. I grew up out in the country, but beyond that, I went in the Air Force and worked with munitions and served during wartime, and so that was pretty, a pretty good learning process. I also worked hard to earn 3 degrees in 5 years debt-free. I had a 4.0 GPA for a year and a half while serving on an active duty overseas, during wartime. So let me think. I excelled very well in my career in the military, but I knew that wasn't the path I always wanted to pursue. So I started a career in a company, Mock Fuels, in Chattanooga, to become the first alternative fuel station builder and conversion kit installer. So worked very hard to grow that company, and I knew the Achilles heel of that business was always going to be low fuel prices. So the idea was to have cleaner, cheaper American fuel, and so in any business, economics is the most important thing. And so when fuel prices were at $1.35 a gallon in Chattanooga, I couldn't sustain operations. So that was one of my I guess that was my first business professional failure, was shutting down a company, or basically just ceasing operations that were, in business you always want to grow, so when you retract, it's a different business model. And in business school, they teach you 9 out of 10 new businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years, and so but what they don't teach is how to fail, essentially, right? And so they teach a lot of things about success, but if we're teaching about 10% of what reality is, that's a narrow focus. And so what I hope to do is expand my learning and experiences to people that have experienced the same thing and share those thoughts and ideas. So from there I took time off, essentially, from life by living off grid and exploring a new chapter of hardships in different ways and explorations that were fun, and that's what I hope to share too, so it's not such a hardship for other people. And that's basically come to where we're at, where I'm building tiny homes and school buses, and we'll build the Magic School Bus, and electric cars, and like off-grid, different off-grid technology. So it's an expansion upon what I was doing before, all while incorporating 5-field truck and different things to teach and share and grow ideas and children and passions for these things that I have passion for, that respect nature and technology and that are exciting, because a lot of science is very boring, or it's presented in a boring way, and it's executed in a fashion that wastes a lot of money and time, but gets a lot of press, if you will, for what it's worth. But the reality is these things are not in the world in a scale that needs to be. So, my hope is to share and learn and grow about these things in life that can impact you on a daily basis, but actually create a lot more independence for yourself, as a human, like with solar and different alternative fuels, but also alternative living styles and spaces where we explore different communities and people who really just live a different way, that's more balanced, if you will, or constructed in a way that requires less regulation. You self-regulate and balance yourself This morning I did stretches, and at lunch, because it felt like my body was tight, and it was because I've been doing a lot of flooring type work. And so you know, you got to listen to your body and do what it tells you, and sometimes you can't wait for a break or things like that. You have to create your own schedule, and that's what I like to do a lot. You know, so out here, the sun rises over here in the east and sweeps over the valley at about 9 to 9:30, and it's very beautiful, and it's a very peaceful thing for me. And that's where I find balance, is balance in nature. And you know, that rooster crowing over there, he's my alarm clock, so when I don't hear that, I don't wake up in time. And so, you know, but I still have a lot of technology and different things going on, that allows me to connect with the world with this phone and a hotspot and a Bluetooth speaker and a laptop, you know, and inverters and solar, and I guess neighbor's Wi-Fi over here. So that, you know, helps a lot. And so having friends Wi-Fi, having friends that help you out when you need it, and different things, you know, that's the community aspect. So you grow to a independent level that's acceptable to you and comfortable, and to a level where you depend on people, you know, sort of your communal aspect. So where I'm at, there's a lot of people who are into independent off-grid, not so much off-grid, but independent living and unique structures, and I guess tiny homes and buses and all sorts of different things. It's exciting. Cabins, I guess. And so, you know, I hope to learn and grow and share those things and people with you, some of my friends, and some of the really cool stuff that they're doing, and structures, you know. So anyway, so, you know, yeah, with this whole build, you know, everything for me, for the most part, my life was going pretty great up until I got rear-ended. I spent a lot of time building the roll cage on that truck and rear bumper this past year before the Fallen 5 drive, you know, because my biggest fear was getting rear-ended in the fuel tank. And so, you know, I've had, fortunately, the forethought to think about that and execute on basically making that truck safe so I can be here, you know, albeit a little bit sore. And in an unfinished tiny home, I didn't blow up or die, you know, so I had the opportunity to prove that, you know, these fuels are safe, and you can get them all across the country, and at a low price, you know. So it's, each year I go, there's actually more and more stations across the country and different routes that I take. And so, you know, the seasons are wonderful in the fall, and just seeing Americans all across the country is great. And it's very exciting to, I guess, experience who Americans are and what they're about, and different, I guess, fears and celebrations and reliance upon other people. You know, that truck's a 72, so it's got old parts, new parts, and other things to make it work in between. So, you know, there's breakdowns from time to time. It's just an adventure, you know. And before the trip, and basically all year, I prepare to make the trip, and so hopefully it's a success. And so sometimes there's drawbacks, but sometimes, you know, it goes really well. And for the most part, this last year went really well. And you know, I was able to hang the flag on the bridge and honor those 5 men who died in my community. That's why I served my country, was so that wouldn't happen in my community. So when these 5 men died in my community, it was important for me to do something to remember them. And I've got the folded flag from the Amnicola shooting site that I carry across the country in their honor. And you know, it's important that you know, we honor those who gave their all for us, you know. So that's what I do with this. If nobody else is going to do it, I'll do it. And why not do it in something that's unique and draws attention to them and the mission, you know what I'm saying? So with the truck, it's got a bit of a different paint scheme. The idea is a 1940s era aircraft, like a P-38 Lightning, and you know, with the tail and different squadrons, and like the P-51 Mustangs and P-47 Thunderbolts. You know, they had to scrap together different squadrons and paint different schemes, and it was really neat to do that. And so for this year, I don't know what to do yet, so I have to repaint it. It looks like hell right now, so I gotta refinish the truck. And so any ideas are welcome. I sketch it out usually, and then just kind of take ideas from the internet, but I'm only so creative, so, you know, it'd be great to have some help. So what else? Right now I'm working on a school bus, and you know, that's going really well with my client just down the road. And so work on this tiny home and a school bus is really cool. Putting in new floors and walls and just making it a really unique, safe, comfortable space. You know, and just a really unique experience to help build somebody's dreams and do it efficiently and confidently, and have challenges that I don't know if I could do, but I do it and it turns out really well. That's exciting. It's a little bit different than building a tiny home out of steel studs. But let's see here. A school bus is a really cool experience. I'm going to have one here shortly. I'm going to sell that camper and get a school bus and then build that out myself. So, you know, that'll be really cool transition. And so, you know, that'll be exciting, and this is a great way to expand. And I think I want to make that my specialty is school buses. And you know, as far as a trade and how I make money is you know, refinishing school buses and doing specialty tree houses and let's see here, vans and truck restorations, you know, so, and camper outfits on those things. So anyway, that's what I'm up to, and I'm excited about. So, you know, I've got to finish this project and make money and sell the camper and all that sort of stuff. And so, you know, the camper has pretty much exhausted my fascination with camping. I've been camping for almost 4 years straight, and you know, I've loved it. And you know, it's been hard, I guess, toward the end, going through the accident and going through a hard winter with low power in the batteries and just not being able to carry water in like I used to, you know, with all the buckets, and just, you know, it just makes it hard. So anyway, this will be cool. I'm thinking I'm gonna stay in it until I either sell it or get the bus and then rent it out, or you know, donate it to, say, you know, some things I want to do is nonprofit. Probably end up starting a nonprofit organization to help homeless veterans and disadvantaged women, and give people who need I guess a fresh start, a new opportunity where we can teach them a skill and build a little safe space, you know. And if you have kids or whatever, grow out of it, good, and then you can recycle it and give it to another person or a group, you know. So anyway, so who knows where I'll go with this, where we'll go. And you know, this is just about starting it and recording it and putting ideas out there and sharing that information. So you know, as far as all that stuff goes, and you know, I've been praying. I pray a lot, and my prayers get answered quite a bit. And so, you know, also it's a lot of hard work. You just put in the hard work and have faith and focus and go from there. So that's what I've been up to and doing. You know, so with that, I think I'm going to sign off. I don't know of any other things to talk about at this point in time, but you know, I've been shooting other videos, and basically just been working a lot. And with the videos, I have a lot of things to put together and edit, and let me see here, or just put online raw. So just having a good live data feed is good. So I'll do that throughout this week and for the weekend. So starting different categories on the YouTube channel to harness, you know, different ideas. So that's very exciting. Things from past years, and then upcoming events and super cool things, you know, that we're working on. So anyway, old school and off grid, Josh out.